Hello, and welcome to the Evolve and Elevate podcast. I am Jacob Fry, your show host and humble servant. I have an unwavering belief that no matter where you are, who you are, what you have, or what the story of your past may hold, you have the ability and inner strength to design and realize your best self tomorrow, if only you will put in the effort today. This is the introductory episode of the Evolve and Elevate podcast. My name is Jacob Fry, but please call me Jake, and I will be the host of this series. In this introductory episode, we will cover a few items. Before diving in, I want to express that I am using this platform to share, grow, and learn. I am not a proclaimed expert in any of the subjects that we will discuss, rather an avid enthusiast with a strong desire to evolve and elevate others as much as myself. In this episode, we will discuss a brief background of my story, what my personal mission is, and the overall direction of what I will refer to as the Evolve and Elevate project. In addition, I'll share some exciting things coming through the project pipeline. An upfront disclaimer, I have no experience with podcasting, and this is a result of an hour or so watching YouTube videos and Google searching to learn about Audacity. You'll come to find I am a huge supporter of DIY projects. Again, my name is Jake, and I'm here to serve, and I want you to become your best self to bring more positivity to your life, the world, and its inhabitants. As you and I know, the experience of life is often very much a roller coaster of peaks and valleys, the high of joy and the low of despair. My personal mission is to push myself and to support others to the fullest of my ability. Recently, I had a frightening experience that seared into my mind just how easily we could lose the opportunity to enjoy tomorrow's sunset, and that I need to take massive action now to enjoy today and help others along the way. About a month or so ago, I was driving through Pennsylvania on the interstate near a town called Snowshoe. I was moving around 60 to 65 miles per hour and hit a patch of black ice. I lost control of my truck, swerved, and slid into a ditch rolling onto the driver's side of the vehicle. As I came to and realized what had happened, I noticed smoke coming through the dash. In an adrenaline-fueled panic, I unbuckled myself and attempted to get out of the vehicle. I couldn't do it alone. The door was too heavy and I couldn't keep it open while I attempted to climb out of the top. I called 911 from the truck while standing straight up, my feet planted on the driver's side door window, which was cracked and caked with snow and dirt. Following the call, a passerby pulled over and realized I was still in the vehicle. He ran over to the truck, and with his help, I was able to climb from the top of the truck as he held the relatively heavy passenger side door open as I made my escape. After regaining some form of clarity, I recognized that I did not have a single scratch nor bruise on my body. It was also snowing fiercely, and I was in a t-shirt and jeans. The Good Samaritan, whom I still regret not getting his name, gave me his beanie to help keep me warm as well as offered to let me sit in his vehicle. However, shortly after the first responders arrived, he bidded farewell, and the Good Samaritan departed. This event had a significant impact on my mindset. One impact was the acknowledgement that I couldn't lift myself out of the dark and dangerous situation alone. I needed the help of a compassionate, caring being. I feel this relates to many of the dark, dangerous, demoralizing situations we as humans tend to find ourselves in. We all need someone at some point in our journey to extend a hand and help us out of the darkness. The other significant impact was the acceptance that life is fragile. And this gift of life we often take for granted, at least I know I have, may be swiftly taken from us without notice, making it so very important to capitalize on the present moment to its fullest potential. So, who is Jake, and why should the Evolve and Elevate podcast be in my collection? That's a great question. I was born in Decatur, Illinois. My parents divorced at age 3, and I was raised by my mother for the next 10 years or so. We lived in poverty in the town of Quincy, Illinois. My mother, a single parent to both myself and my brother, suffered from severe bipolar disorder and schizophrenia disorder. Throughout my childhood, she self-treated these conditions with hard drugs and alcohol. She was not employed, attempting to raise my brother and I on a monthly disability check, food stamps, and a small child's support stipend from our father. Unfortunately, for much of our childhood, these funds were used to pay for the vices that controlled her life. My brother and I often ate at local soup kitchens because the food stamps were sold instead of used to buy food. There were many nights we did not even know where our mother was, a frightening thing for 2 young children. From the struggle in the home to struggles in the school, we had issues caused by biannual evictions and moving around town. We often changed school districts numerous times in a relatively short period of time. We experienced physical and mental abuse from the drug addicts in and out of our mother's life. These early years of life caused much turmoil in my mindset, and I became very jaded towards the world. Please don't interpret this in the wrong way. I love my mother, I understand her struggles, and while I don't agree with some of the life decisions made, mental illness and drug addiction often tends to make life decisions for the individual impacted. Around age 13, and after several traumatic experiences, my mother was institutionalized for a significant amount of time. Our grandfather took us in, yet nonetheless I began skipping school and failing the grade. Shortly after, our father took full custody and we moved across the state. He had remarried and was raising 2 step-siblings. This understandably caused conflict and tension when we arrived. Unfortunately, the suffering did not end here, as much as I would have liked it to. Our father worked night shift and was on the National Guard. He was absent much of the time, trying to provide for the family. After being called to active duty due to international conflicts at the time, we were left with our stepmother, who was not necessarily pleased to have 2 unexpected additions to the household. This led to much conflict during my adolescence. Fast forwarding a little bit, I found myself, along with my stepbrother, being expelled from public school after making a very poor life decision. I want to stop here for a moment and take just a little bit of time to pause. There are and will be several gaps in the storyline here, simply because there's far too much to condense to an introductory podcast episode. If you find yourself interested in this dysfunctional story of my upbringing, there will be a short early life memoir I'm releasing this summer as an ebook, hopefully on Amazon. I don't intend to charge for it, but if purchased, all proceeds will be donated to the churches and food pantries that help me navigate the rockier parts of my life journey. So, back to the background. This poor decision that resulted in expulsion at the age of 13 turned out to be a blessing in disguise. I was referred to a, quote, alternative school, unquote. This was a school program designed for troubled youth called Milligan Academy in Decatur, Illinois. Milligan Academy and the teachers within taught me several valuable life lessons and tools. The teachers taught me to meditate and to find self-awareness. I learned that we, as individuals, are the only ones responsible for our results in life. It taught me that no matter what I have done or where I am in life, I can help others and positively impact them and their lives. We often volunteered at soup kitchens and other locations in town that were in need of support. I was taught to accept the lot given in life rather than rebel against it. In an effort to save some time, I'm going to condense the story some. Not long after I found myself at Milligan Academy, I found myself a father at the age of 15. I was in love, and the relationship was a very important thing to me at the time. And I was offered an ultimatum by her parents if I wanted to be in my child's life. So, at the age of 16, my parents signed waivers, and I married my daughter's mother prior to my daughter's entry into the world. The same year, I dropped out of high school to work and raise my daughter. At age 18, I finally earned my GED, aka General Education Equivalent. Due to a severe decline in our relationship and several other issues, I filed for divorce after obtaining a 2-year order of protection against my child's mother. At this point in my life, I felt like the world was against me. I found myself, in my teenage years, a single father, making minimum wage, and high school dropout with a GED. I was overweight, weighing well over 300 pounds. I was overstressed, feeling stuck and broke. Eventually, I broke. I was sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. I made the decision that I was not going to continue living my life in suffering, standing in line at food pantries after work so I could feed my child, scrounging for change to go to the laundromat, and donating plasma to afford Christmas gifts. Most important to me, I would not allow myself to put my daughter through the struggle of having a loser deadbeat father, to be raised in a trailer that was falling apart, to have the same upbringing that I had as a child. My baby girl was going to be proud of her dad. Around age 19, I signed up for community college and began to work on my health. At the time, I did not own my own vehicle and would ride a bicycle more than 15 miles to the community college, which was no small feat for a bigger boy. I began reading regularly, breaking through my comfort zones, listening to positive audiobooks and seminars, all of which were available for free on YouTube from some very powerful speakers, such as Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Wayne Dyer, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, and so many, many more great inspirations in my life. Fast forwarding a handful more years to the present day, and I am a terminal manager for a large Fortune 500 company. I am working towards earning an MBA. I have several skill sets, including a CDL and several professional credentials. Not only did I get us out of the trailer, but I also own rental property and have an investment portfolio, which is not something I ever would have imagined in my wildest dreams a decade ago. My finances are stable, my health is in great shape, my body is able to run marathons, I'm able to lift several hundred more pounds to my body weight, which I am so very grateful for. A company leader took a risk on me, and in my mid-20s I am a leader of more than 30 direct reporting colleagues and have an extremely fulfilling career. For myself, the progress I have made with sheer stubborn determination still amazes me. From overweight and sedentary to losing over 100 pounds and running marathons. From a high school dropout to a degree holder. From poverty to financial stability. I have numerous and sometimes unbelievable stories from along the journey, as well as what I would consider valuable insights worth sharing with others, full of raw emotion, humanity, struggle, overcoming, and achievement. And failure, of course. Which leads me to the very present moment. While navigating my career, a full-time student, and navigating several other projects, I am going to commit myself to slowly but surely share these insights and do all I can to possibly build others up and reveal their inner potential. Again, I am Jake, I am your friend, and I want you to become your best self. I want you to bring positivity to your life and to others. Reverting back to the Evolve and Elevate project. This is a project I am attempting to realize on my own, with zero experience in any of the platforms I am working to develop. In fact, hosting this podcast, recording this podcast, using Audacity, speaking into this microphone, it's all outside of my comfort zone, which is all rather really exciting. So this project will consist of a podcast, a blog, ebooks, a self-improvement game in which you are the hero, and a handful of one-on-one coaching opportunities for individuals interested in elevating their lives. The podcast will focus on a different topic each episode. The topics will all be under the umbrella of self-improvement and life fulfillment. It will include, among many other topics, those such as formal education, self-education, motivation, time management, organization, developing a personal vision, setting goals, finances, stoicism, real estate, leadership, gratitude, tools and processes that improve lives. Fitness, nutrition, mentorship, coaching, silencing the ego, giving back to the community, and all of these will be supported with personal stories from my journey, as well as information from those at the top of their game in the particular topic. After all, success leaves clues, and we should want to investigate those clues in an effort to adopt and adapt them into our lives. So, what's next? Check out evolvedandelevated.com for the early start of the Evolve and Elevate Project blog, as well as other information. Stay tuned for ebook dates and the release of the self-improvement game designed to help you design your best self. The Trials of My Early Life, unscripted, will be releasing this summer, and as I gain real-world credibility, I will begin releasing other ebooks in the works around topics discussed on the podcast and in the blog. Dropping off that, it's time for me to wrap up this episode. I know there wasn't much value in this initial introductory episode, but I do hope I hit my target in explaining my mission and the direction of the podcast. And whether or not this journey towards evolving and elevating is a good fit for your podcast collection and valuable time. If it is, please subscribe. Tune back in next week where I will share an indispensable life lesson about failure and how we can use our setbacks to launch ourselves forward towards success. This is Jake, signing off, and remember, when things are looking down, you always have the choice to stay up.